And we are back with more of the Ace Attorney Chronicles, Chapter 5. Luckily, it's giving us a helpful recap. I won't try and read fast enough to keep up with all of this. Yep. Gina Lestrade has been found, gun in hand, in the back room of the pawn brokerage. So, just to recap, Gina Lestrade, who we met in our first trial, has been found, gun in hand, in the back room of Pop Windibank's pawnbrokery. Also, Pop looks like he has been shot to death. There was some suspicious activity with Eggs Benedict last time. We never did get his real name. Welcome to the stream, Lastborn, and thanks for the hydrate. Herlock Sholmes got shot trying to apprehend some folks fleeing the scene. And yeah, I think that's about where we left off. From that moment, Windibank's pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn before I was allowed back to my lodgings at 221B. And naturally, they are going to accuse Gina, which means we will have to defend her. 16th April, 6:21 a.m., Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Oh, Iris. A telegram came, but all it said was, "Wait at home." Oh, yes, we asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back. When I woke up, I was all alone. Hurley and Ginny were gone. Everyone was gone. What happened, Runo? Poor Iris, she's trembling. She's obviously trying very hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know. Something awful has happened, hasn't it? Yes, I'm afraid so. I probably can't examine any of this, and to be honest, there's nothing really new here. I will examine this. Nope. Hang on, so... Oh, this looks like a telegram. It is, but you mustn't open it. Not under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. Now then, let's see. Oh no, what did I just say? You mustn't open it. Don't worry, I won't. With this special concoction I've deployed, I'll be able to see through the envelope without having to open it. Developed. No, that's not allowed either. Oh, but I'm sure it's something important. Little geniuses sure can be mischievous. In here, blah blah blah. Hurley's desk is far worse, you know. I'm sure if I try hard enough, I can make my desk as messy as Mr. Sholmes. I wonder. You don't think I can? Well, it takes a certain genius to reach that level of disorder, you know. The path to true mess is long and arduous, it seems. So, another thing to recap, apparently, Susato got a message from basically our boss here in London to come by his office today. So she's probably gone already, which is why she's not here in the room with us. That's what's in that telegram. But a room doll I brought with me from home, still with only one eye colored in. I said I'd color the other eye once I won my first court case here in Britain, but that's cruel, only letting it have one eye. Yes, but it's because I don't consider myself a good enough lawyer yet, you see. Once I become a fully fledged lawyer, Miss Susato will color in the other eye for me. Well, in that case, why not color in the other eye now? And then every time you win a new case, give it an extra eye. Oh, I do love Iris. You can never have too many eyes, you know. Call me crazy, but I'd never considered that. You're rather lucky to find that old aquarium. The prawns we put in there are doing rather well, and the anemones. Apparently, tanks like those were very popular in London before I was born. Oh, you mean they're not anymore? I think people discovered it was too much effort to clean them out and change the water all the time. I can believe that. Prawns and anemones are fun for a while. Oh, how about some tea, Bruno? Thanks, Iris, but I'm alright for now. With the green tea Susato-san makes me from time to time, and Iris's unique herbal infusions, this place is a paradise for a true tea lover. If you're sure, you know I always have plenty whenever you're feeling thirsty. Tea set Susato brought with her from Japan? Let's hope she hasn't noticed me slipping sugar and milk into my cup when she makes it. It's so bitter. Susie's lovely green tea has had quite an impact on Hurley, you know? He stopped putting milk and sugar in his coffee, even. And Hurley is normally bitterly opposed to bitterness. Seriously, why do we just have a shovel in here, though? No, that's not a spade, it's a shovel. Ah, you're a shoveler, are you? I had a feeling you'd pick me up on that. Oh no, a pick is something... No. Now I've dug myself into an even deeper hole. Sorry, it is, you know, routine... It is a routine tactic to examine everything in the room before talking to anyone. You know, I've never even seen inside Miss Susato's room. I haven't so much as put my head around the door. Oh, Susie often invites me up. It's so much fun. Really? What's a room like? I can't tell you that. Oh. Yeah. I already read this line once. I'm not doing it again. Or have I heard that before? I suppose that some things are the same the world over. Wow, am I already going to start struggling to talk? Okay. Let's talk about it. She specializes in garden humor. Yes. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Windbank is dead. He was shot. We discovered it in the early hours of the morning. Oh, yes, I had a feeling. You did? I saw all of those police carriages pulling up outside his shop, so I knew something must have happened there. When we entered the Windibanks in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of 2 thugs. They ran out onto the street and I chased after them, but they got away. So, it was one of them who shot old Mr. Windibank, I suppose. I don't know, but that's not what the police believe at the moment. Oh, why not? They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina. Ginny? But why? Well, the thing is... No, Ginny wouldn't do something like that. I know. None of us think she did it. And why have they arrested her? I'm sorry. There was nothing I could do. So where's Hurley, then? Is he still there investigating the scene? He really ought to have some breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals. I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news about Mr. Sholmes. He was taken to the hospital this morning. What? Well, when we entered Windibanks, a gun was fired and he took a bullet. Hurley was shot? No. It's all right. His life isn't in danger. Really? Are you sure? Where is he? Which hospital? He's at St. Sinners. Or Signers. They're tending to him there. I must see him at once. I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't. Why not? That's not fair. I'm a family member. I should be allowed. No, I mean, nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see. To operate? Oh, poor Hurley. It was the 2 thugs who were in Mr. Windibank's shop. They shot Mr. Holmes when we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze. After them! Go! After them! Go! After that, I ran out into the street, but, well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry, it's my fault. I let them get away. I think that's a very good thing. Sorry? Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, you might have been shot as well, Runa. She's got a point there. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that. Oh, Iris. Where's Susie, Runa? She's still at the police station. Oh, why? I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while. Why aren't you there, then? Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. And Miss Susato stayed behind at the scene to tend Mr. Sholmes, so they didn't get started until later. Ah, I see. Besides, one of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to me leaving early. You should have let me know. I would have come to the station. I don't understand why they arrested Ginny. It's not fair. What about the 2 thugs that were at the scene? Why aren't they the prime suspects? After all, they shot Hurley dead, didn't... No, he's still alive. No, I mean, Mr. Sholmes isn't dead, Iris. Ah, this is also horrible. The thing is, Mr. Windibank was found on the floor in the storeroom where he keeps all the deposited articles. And the storeroom door was locked from the inside. I see. But he wasn't alone in there. Gina was found next to him on the floor as well. Oh no. And according to the detectives who investigated afterwards... Don't tell me. There was no one else in the room? Yes, exactly. How did you know? It's the only explanation. Yes, the only explanation indeed. What do you mean by that, Bruno? Well? What can I say? I'm damned if I agree, damned if I don't. I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I can do at the moment, but I can at least try to find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on. I want to go too. Take me with you, Runa. I mean, it's a pretty reasonable request. Like, she wants to see Mr. Sholmes, and it feels irresponsible to leave her home alone. I can't stand just sitting around here waiting. I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child to the scene of a murder, but I don't want to leave her all alone here either. Alright then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me? Oh, yes, I'd love to. Gina's at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed. And don't forget, we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation. Ah, I can see you're ready for action. I imagine Iris would appreciate going to the hospital sooner rather than later. Alright. New location. Gina's cell. St. Siner's Hospital. Yeah, let's start there. April 16th, St. Siner's Hospital, Ward 3. St. Siner's Hospital, Ward 3. Yeah, I think I'll stick with Siner's, even though Sinners is kind of funnier. Saint Sinners. It's an amusing play on words. You know what? I'll go with Saint Sinners. Hurley! Oh. Yeah, she's got, she's... Just a reminder, folks. Iris has a degree in medicine. She can probably read his chart. He's not here. No, that's strange. The nurse definitely said he was in the bed by the window, didn't she? Oh, I know what probably happened. Hurley was being a big baby, and the bullet wound wasn't that bad after all, so he's been sent home. I'm not so sure about that, baby or not. There's no question that it was a fairly serious injury that Mr. Sholmes suffered. Oh, very tactful, Ryu. Oh. Hello. What have we here? This ward is off limits, no visiting. So what are you doing here, right? Well, I'll have you know, we're Hurley's next of kin. Oh, well, begging your pardon then, ma'am, sir. A little lady and a curious Eastern gentleman. The great mystery solver has a mysterious family, eh? If that's how you see us, sure. Everyone at 221B Baker Street is kind of a little family. Where is he, Constable? Where's Hurley? I believe he is currently in the operating theatre, ma'am, undergoing an extensive operation. Extensive? It has been several hours since he went in. Oh dear, is he going to be alright? Well, it doesn't appear to be working, you see. The anesthetic, that is. Oh? I've had a report I've heard a report that the gentleman claims he may have had a little too much to drink last night. Coffee, that is. Anyway, I think it would be fair to assume that he won't be back here for several hours yet. I see. Thank you, Constable. Perhaps we should leave and come back later. Oh, poor Hurley. I don't know if that's how anesthetic works. I can't think of an anesthetic that would have been foiled by having coffee a few hours earlier. Like, I'm no medical professional by any stretch of the imagination, so I could easily be wrong, but... Notice board on the wall there. Thought of the day: on seeing any vermin, calmly and discreetly inform the matron. Oh yes, they have rats and mice in hospitals like this that love to feast on all the medicine. If you don't deal with them, there's nothing left to treat the patients. Rats and mice? Oh, I see. This is a rather old building, I suppose. The doctors and nurses are all very good, I hear. I certainly hope so, for Mr. Sholm's sake. Hope they're better at medicine than they are at dealing with pests. Mr. Sholm's bed. Looks as stiff as a board, doesn't it? Oh, I don't think that will bother him. No? I often find him asleep face down on the floor, completely dead to the world. I think I'd call the police if I discovered someone like that. Crutches. Oh, haven't you ever seen crutches before? Let me explain. They're for people with leg injuries, to help them walk. You hold one under each arm, you see. Ah, right. I thought they were weapons of some sort. Why would there be weapons in a hospital? I thought maybe a fighter had been injured in a battle contest and had been brought here along with his weapons. That's surprisingly plausible. Alright. Time to go visit Ginny. 16th April, local prison, cell 13. Hello, Gina. How does she still have the smoke grenade launcher while she's in a cell? Oh, you still have the grenade launcher Hurley and I made. I wish she wouldn't have pointed at me all the time, though. What are you here for? Ginny? I have a feeling it's because of us that you've ended up in trouble. So we were thinking that we might be able to help you. Well, you can't. Sorry? You've heard, get lost. Don't be like that, Ginny. I know you didn't do it. You'd never shoot someone. I just know you wouldn't. Not with real bullets, anyway. With a grenade launcher, you'd have no hesitation. You think you know me? Pull the other one. Oh. You ain't got the first idea about the likes of me. I'm a thief. I pinch people's purses when they're walking down the street. That's how I get by. And if I saw me the chance, I'd sneak into a pawn shop any day of the week. Just to see what I could lay me hands on. Get it? That's the kind of person I am. But Jenny, I'll be in court tomorrow, they said. Some cove came by before and said he'd be a lawyer for me or the like. Said it was my right or something. But I told him to get stuffed. I don't need no lawyer. I don't need no one. She couldn't be staring at me any more obviously if she tried. Why are you being like this, Jenny? You know, I could present my armband, but I think I'll actually hold off. I think that might be something I really have to do. I don't understand, Gina. Why did you send the public defender away? They wanted me to sign some papers. Representation papers or something like that. It's all going to be rigged anyway, the whole trial. They'll pin it on me because I'm a kid. That's what grown-ups always do. Why do you think that? Because that's how it's always been for me, growing up in the back slums my whole life. If you do what grown-ups tell you, it'll get your mates dragged off by the coppers, or even worse. I've had it happen to me before and all, been sold out and nearly snaffed on the back of it. You can't trust no one, that's the point. As soon as you do, you're gone to grass, dead. Gina, listen. If you like, in tomorrow's trial, I could forget it. Ginny, don't you trust Runo? Nah, I don't. She's lying. Look, I'll ask you nicely now. Just leave me alone. Will you tell us what happened, Gina? Last night at the pawnbroker's. There's nothing to tell. I figured it'd pay me, so I broke into the place and started going through the storeroom. But the old bloke walked in on me and you know the rest. No, we don't know the rest, that's the thing. But why, Ginny? Why would you do that? Ain't it obvious? The place is full of stuff I could sell for a shilling or two. Diving ain't easy, you know. It's a lot of work and half the time you don't get nothing. Is that really why you broke into the place? What? Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else? Oh, give it a rest. What would be the point anyway, eh? Nothing I could say would make a blind bit of difference. Please tell us, Ginny. We'll believe you, whatever it is. Believe me? Don't be daft. You can't believe nothing. Everyone lies all the time. And you know what? When it comes to lies, I'm the biggest of the lot. I've told some unforgivable lies, I have. What do you mean by that? What unforgivable lies? I have a feeling we're going to go to wherever Gina actually lives and get to know some of the other kids from the streets there. Try and learn a bit about her. What did you mean before, Gina, when you said you were the biggest liar of the lot? Why don't you tell us what these unforgivable lies you've told are? Maybe we can help. Sorry. We're out of time. They're gonna want to question me now. Ginny, please. Oh, yeah. I wanted to give you this. Something to remember me by. Oh, it's a cat. A photographic print of a really adorable cat. I found it in one of the pockets of this coat. Ain't no point me having it. I wonder what a little photograph like that was doing in a pocket of that overcoat. Anyway, don't bother coming again. Bye. Oh, Ginny. White cat photograph. Alright, let's take a look at that. I knew it, there was going to be something on the back. So, first of all, though, the cat. This is an adorable little cat. I think it looks a little like Wagahai. I always thought cats like to curl up inside under the heated kotatsu blanket when it snowed. Maybe British cats are different. Look on the back of this print here. There's something written on it. 13th February, 9 p.m. Article deposited 1 small box. 1 amount paid, 10 shillings. Redemption deadline, 13th April, 9 p.m. So this photographic print is a redemption ticket. 13th February? That could be significant. It was just 2 days before the murder on the omnibus, wasn't it? Small box. That doesn't tell us much about it, does it? Bruno, if Mr. McGilded still had the ticket, then presumably he never redeemed the article. So do you think the box might still be present somewhere in the shop? Ah, yes. If it's something McGilded deposited, we need to investigate. White cat photograph information has been updated in the court record. Pawnbroker's ticket box. Okay, as long as we can still look at the cat side of it. Alright, Gina. We'll be back in a minute. Oh, wait. Alright. Let's go to Baker Street before we actually go to the pawnbrokery. When Hurley comes back home, let's have a big party. It's a great idea. I'm sure it won't be long. Mr. Sholmes is very tough. Yes. There's still a Scotland Yard carriage outside Windibank's. I never imagined we'd be visiting a case so close to home. Poor Iris. She's very upset by all this. I'm sorry, I was there. I should have done more. None of this is your fault, Bruno, so please don't apologize. But it's the criminals who are to blame for all of this, so let's investigate and work out how to catch them. Yes, you're right. April 16th, Windibank's Pawnbrokery. Oh, wow. Someone moving in the scene. This is where it happened then? Last night? That's right. The two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place, looking for valuables. But apart from the policemen in here, you wouldn't know anything bad had happened. There's no sign of a disturbance. No, you're right about that, actually. In fact, if anyone, it's the police who seem to be the ones doing the ransacking. I know what you mean. They're like a gang of organized criminals all dressed in black. Oh, I heard that. Hi, Gregson. Oh, Inspector. Good morning. I suppose I ought to thank you for your vigilance last night. We got to the scene before it was disturbed, at least. Shame you let the two rogues get away, mind. Yes, I'm sorry about that. I thought you'd assigned extra men to the beat around here, Gregsy. Now look what's happened. Hurley's been injured because there weren't enough police on duty. Ah! Your ladyship. No one told me you were coming. I expect you to take full responsibility for what happened to Hurley, and see that he has the very best medical care. Of course, your ladyship. The very best doctors in the capital are attending to him as we speak. And I don't think it's Runo's fault that the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police's job. Absolutely, your ladyship. As you say, ma'am, as you say. The gent in black is totally blameless. Everyone's in agreement about that. Would you believe it? It's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about a personality change. Oh, well, me manners. Are you thirsty, your ladyship? Perhaps you'd like some juice? Some nice, refreshing fruit juice? Oh, why? Are you thirsty, Gregsy? I have some of my special herbal tea with me if you'd like some. Ah, lovely. Ah, very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. I don't even recognize him like this. Well, she is paying him more than the yard is. Alright, let's take a look at... Really? Alright then, let's see what we can uncover. Okay, so I need to talk to him. What's the problem, Gregsy? Runo's a lawyer, you know that. Oh, I'm ever so sorry, your ladyship, ever so sorry. The rules and regulations are a thorn in my side. Of course, if Mr. Norioto was to have been properly appointed by the accused, that would be another matter. The accused? If you could show me some representation papers, I'd be only too happy to let you nose around. Did you hear that, Runo? You need Ginny to sign some representation papers. Okay. So, how's the investigation going, Inspector? Nothing to it, really. Very simple case, this. There's some very definitive evidence. We're just about to charge that diver we arrested last night, in fact. Gina? You're going to charge her? That's right. Should be able to bring her before the judge at the Bailey tomorrow. Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me. Your ladyship, as much as I wish I could oblige you, I'm afraid. Ah, I see. You've already captured the pair of thugs who broke in here last night, have you? Well, and you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you? Ow. How could you? Ow! So let me get this straight. You've captured the people who we saw shoot a guy, and you're going to have them act as witnesses to the fact that someone else shot a guy. Yep, there's definitely nothing wrong with that plan. How could you possibly know that? I had a feeling, that's all. Remind me never to try to keep a secret from Iris. So you've arrested the two men who shot Mr. Sholmes, have you? Well, yes, they were rounded up pretty quickly by the lads on the beat. And Miss Lestrada's being held at the prison? She should be. That's assuming she hasn't lifted the key from the jailer, of course. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition? Sorry, I'm not at liberty to divulge that information. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential. Iris is his next of kin? I'm sorry, but I don't think it's confidential from her. Well, I know he's being operated on at St. Sinner's. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know? I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's the hospital's policy. No visiting at all. Oh. The bullet must have hit an artery in his midriff. He's lost a fair bit of blood. Oh no. It didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so, but hemorrhage like that is enough to make even the one and only Sholmes pipe down. Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know. Well, anyway, he's having emergency surgery right now. They've got to stop that bleeding. But he will be alright, won't he? They'll be able to make him better? Oh, of course, your ladyship. He'll be as right as rain before you know it. Really? How do you know? How do I know? Well, because, of course... Ah, yes, because Mr. Sholmes is such a great detective, that's why. We better pray that the doctors have a better grasp of what's needed. Oh dear, please don't die, Hurley. I'll report to your ladyship the moment I hear he's out of the operating theatre. I couldn't help noticing, Inspector. What? Out with it, sunshine. Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris. Watch the sauce, Sonny. I'm a copper and we don't go in for favoritism. But he's right, you do treat us differently. It's because of those Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes stories, that's why. Oh. I crop up in them, don't I? Inspector Tobias Gregson. Oh, well yes, because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's. What did you write about the inspector, Iris? I don't remember, really. It was one of Sholmes's lines. Gregson is the smartest of the Scotland Yarders, is how he put it. Oh, did I write that? And you know what that line did for me, eh? The very next month my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell you. Oh, that's amazing. All because everyone here at the yard reads them. They read all the Sherlock Sholmes stories. They've even set up a fan club for me. Of course, that explains everything. It was around that time that you became such a toady to me. Can you blame me? All it'd take is one bad word from you and Sholmes could change his tune about me. Gregson? No. The great detective will say, he's getting quite overrated these days. Think what would happen to my salary if that came out in print, eh? The whole thing gives me the willies. I can't tell you how many nights of sleep I've lost to worrying about it. That would never happen, Gregsy. Every month when the new Rance magazine comes out, my hands are trembling as I turn the pages. Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves. I don't know why I decided to not give Iris a British accent when I'm trying to give all of the other British people British accents, but it is nice to not have to do the voice for her. Ah, lovely. Ah, very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. Teetotal. Oh, yeah. There's something I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruto. Yes, what is it? I've got an important message for you. I clean forgot about it until now. An important message? Wonder what it could be. It's probably from Susato. Are you going to tell me what this important message is then, Inspector? Yeah, it's about that young lady who's normally by your side, your assistant. Dear Susie, is she alright? She's at the station, isn't she? Being questioned, I believe. Nope, not anymore. She had to head off. Head off? Where? To Lord Strongart's office, of course. He summoned her. Ah, yes, of course, I'd forgotten about that. One of the whipstocks took her there in a yard carriage after we'd finished questioning her, but she asked us to tell you she didn't have the fare for the return journey, and to go meet her there. She's got a nerve using Scotland Yard as a bloomin' messaging service. I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector. Why did Susie have to go see the Lord Chief Justice? She didn't tell me. But I'd better head over to Lord Chief Justice's office and fetch her straight away. Does he react at all if I present him with this? Nope. Oh, come on. How many times do I have to watch him drink the tea? I mean, he's already sipped the Kool-Aid. Alright, let's go pick up Susie. 16th April, British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice's office. Yes. No matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of oppressiveness somehow. Do you think the place is oppressive? I think it's normal. How so? I mean, look at that suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you? Maybe it thinks the same about you. So everything is clear with regard to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust. Yes, thank you very much. There they are, Susato-san and Lord Strongheart. I wonder what they're talking about. They both look very serious.
Very good. There is nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt you have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland.
What? Excuse you? Wait. What did he just say? Your return to your homeland? Susato-san. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. What was all that about?
Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you for coming to collect your colleague.
What's all this about? Why were you talking about Miss Susato's return to her homeland? And tomorrow? Tomorrow? Well, what about Ginny's trial? You mean she's been formally charged now? Oh dear. Alright, time to have a conversation. Miss Susato, what's all this about? Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. Too late. It's only me going back to Japan. Your life here can continue just as... That's not what I asked. What happened? Why are you leaving? Yeah, I won't let you dance around the question. It's my father. He's fallen ill. Oh no. Professor Mikotoba?
If I may?
Yes, sir?
You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yumei University.
I can't remember what voice I did for him, sorry.
We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news.
10 days ago, Father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown, and it seems he grows weaker day by day. I don't believe it.
As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Miss Susato's departure as much as possible.
Yes, absolutely. We'll leave London first thing tomorrow morning. I can't believe this is happening. So Gina has been charged? She'll have to appear in court? Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow. No, not even 24 hours later? Oh, thank you for the hydrate, lastborn.
Gina. Ah, the Lestrade girl. And the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes. An all too conspicuous case. The pickpocket was clearly disturbed mid-robbery and shot the man in a panic. No, the yard is overstretched as it is without wasting time on these open and shut cases.
It's not wasting time. Ginny would never do something like that.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart?
In deference of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence.
This young girl has a higher degree than you do, brah. Welcome to the stream, B.
But I have no recollection of admitting a child into my office. Leave now.
Of course, Lord Strongheart.
Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. The police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetrated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend.
The friendly girl with the pink hair is Iris. Serious matters? Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday.
It's no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that. "3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me."
There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart.
Which is?
It's Miss Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her?
A timely suggestion.
Sorry?
The girl currently has no representation.
But that's not fair. Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial. We've already seen her, and she already told us she refused it.
Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender. The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork, and a defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right.
Why would she do that?
A question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrade. You will find her at the local prison.
Yes, thank you.
Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you.
What a day. Gina charged with murder, Susato-san about to leave. Come, Mr. Naruhodo, Iris. We must make haste. But, Susie, you're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have packing and things to do? As Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can. Thank you, Miss Susato. That's a very pensive look. I think we ought to visit Gina first. In any case, I should like to wish her well before I leave. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go. If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. I'll just have to do what I can as a lawyer. We're back, Gina. Tropical Prison, Cell 13. Ah! Hello again, Gina. I still don't know how she still has that. What are you liar for now? Have the muzzle of that grenade launcher shoved in our faces yet again, obviously. I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition into that thing, don't I? Look. You can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Somehow I don't think that plan will work. Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. What? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Eh? Farewell? Tomorrow I must begin my journey back home to Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it will be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable. Susie? Well, that ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They've put their faith in you. But somehow you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right, I can't. What of it? It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they're so clearly unhappy. Because of you. What, it's my fault? Yes, so I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here and now, I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. Eh? Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be. Oh, she's clever. She's clever sometimes. What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh? You've told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. What about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lies. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't. Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquitted. The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about? Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, is she the one who planted evidence? I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe. Will you tell us about it now? Ooh, it's getting good. Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The coppers got hold of me and shoved me in the witness stand. And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent. Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff. I knew it. What sort of thing did you lie about? I was hiding under the seat that night. That was the truth. It was pitch black in that little cubby hole. I couldn't see a thing, and then... thud. I heard that loud thud, like someone falling on the floor. And that's when Mr. McGilded discovered you? Yeah. He pulled me out from under the seat and sat me next to the dead man. There weren't much light to see by, but when I looked at me hands, I had the cove's blood all over him. I was so scared I couldn't even speak. You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof saw through the skylight. Then Mr. McGilded started asking you questions, I suppose. Who you were, why you were hiding under the seat. Yeah, he did, only that's not all. What do you mean? I mean, he threatened me. Threatened you how? He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I'd heard, and about what he was going to do after the cover was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it, and if I did that, he said he'd let me scarper before the coppers showed up. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. You said Mr. McGilded made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw, but you were in the pitch-black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you? Yes, with Mr. McGilded sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I heard the thud of the cove hitting the floor. I let out a little scream, you see. Couldn't help it. McGilded heard that and dragged me out by my arm, and that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer what had been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc? Do you mean... Yeah, that's it. One what the D took off me at Windybanks. So the music box disc was there on the floor of the omnibus? Not for long. Mr. McGill spotted it straight away. He picked it up smartish and stuffed it inside his pocket. So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder. And the bug trotter told me I weren't to mutter a word of it to no one. Interesting. Because it was so dark under the seat in that cab, I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and the footsteps inside the cabin. Presumably that was McGilded getting on board. Nah, not only him. Oh. Because I could definitely make out the footsteps of 2 people. In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGilded and the victim, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilded claimed he slept during the carriage ride. But when I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it. Just a reminder that we determined him to be Italian, because I can't do an Irish accent. Not even one as bad as that Italian accent. And your own testimony, Gina, supported his. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that wasn't exactly true. Neither of them was asleep. I could hear them talking the whole time in low voices. What? What were they talking about? Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses and the wheels was too loud. Well, that still tells us something. Mr. McGilded and the victim knew each other. So McGilded was lying as I suspected. I knew it wasn't going to take long before someone raised the alarm and that that bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So when the cab came to a stop, Mr. McGilded told me to hop back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The two cubs from up top ran off to get the coppers. Yes, I'm Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. Right, and after they'd gone, McGilded asked the driver to do him a favour. A favour? Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. Hey, I'll give you 10 guineas. A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? Yep, you got it. It was Windibank's. The coach snapped up the money and ran off to pop this coat as fast as he could. So then there was no one left in the carriage. McGilded opened the box under the seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions. I see. Conditions. What were McGilded's conditions then? For letting you go free, I mean. Not telling a soul, not for anything, about what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well. There's more? Yeah. This is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me, with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Aye. The fiend's taken me overcoat to deposit it with a pawnbroker hereabouts, and I want you lass to take a redemption ticket for it. Do you understand? What? You want me to have the ticket? That's alright, and I'll come fetch it from you later, sometime within the next 2 months. You are to hang on to it until then, is that clear? Whatever you do, don't lose it. Alright then. And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you are to go to the pawn shop, Windibank's so it is, and you are to extend the loan before the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited, and then your fiend could come along and buy it. Yeah, but I ain't got that kind of brass. Here's the £5, that should be good enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now, if you go against me. Yeah, I get it. Good, and one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? Aye, they'll come asking you to take the stand in court, to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it that you might say, and what it is that you want? After he'd gone over it all, I packed it, got as far away from there as I could. He hid the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark. So McGilded planned it, and coerced Gina into giving false testimony. I'll bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied in that big old courtroom. I told some corkers. The thing is, he said he would make it so we couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. wicked man. He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew he had no one to look after us, and we was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So you mean Mr. McGilded would have, in an heartbeat, he could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he wanted? And then where could we have gone, eh? No, nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have no choice. Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything. But I'm for it now, eh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid. Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor. A favor? What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. I need them so that I can start investigating and building your defense. Eh? If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us. Investigate what? The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see. You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Ginny. Is it bad? Is he gonna be all right? Sholmes is gonna be all right, right? That's why I want to investigate, for Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything. Right. So what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy, is that it? Something like that. Miss Susato? Yes, of course. Have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me, though. No lawyer or nothing. Well, welcome to the stream, Rafkin. Poor Ginny. She seems so lonely. Gina's representation papers. Paperwork signed by Gina to put me in charge of her defense. Showing this to Scotland Yard detectives gains us access to the crime scene. Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windibanks now. Yes. And perhaps we can come back to visit Ginny when we're done here. There. I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us from investigating at Windibanks. Although, something tells me he's not going to be happy about it. We've definitely got time to continue, so let's keep going. April 16th, 1:26 p.m., Windibanks Pawnbrokery. Here we are again, at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Okay, but first... Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. These are the representation papers. Okay, before that happens, I want to examine them myself. I, the undersigned, agree to legal representation by the lawyer named hereunder in regard to the following incident. Defendant, Gina Lestrade. Alleged offense, murder of Baker Street pawnbroker. Date of trial, 17th April, 10 a.m. Attorney-in-law, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Pretty straightforward. Your ladyship, how? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragbash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? Oh my gosh, how many times do we have to watch him drink tea? Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, yes. Hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime, then? Do as you please. You know where it happened, through that door behind the counter. Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank. He has such a unique tea-drinking technique. Ah, I see. I'm going to not learn from it, if that's all the same. Just a matter of laziness, nothing else. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. You be investigating the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are still so many articles to go through, it's taken forever, even with the lads working round the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the Yard needs to investigate urgently. Must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine. Come then. Let's not waste any time. So for some reason, I can't actually investigate that. This will just investigate the counter. Yep. Also, I appreciate that there is another copy of the same picture that we have here. This picture. So it does seem like he just keeps a stack of those for his for the item tickets. There's a ledger here, and Mr. Windibank's notes, and what's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind. Oh, look on the back. There's some writing. Is there? Oh, show us, Susie. Welcome to the stream, Brittle. Ooh, that is a bloodstain. 15th February, 10:30 p.m. One gentleman's overcoat. One amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th April, 10:30 p.m. Gentleman's overcoat, pawned for £1. Clearly it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think... Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday. And is still wearing, which belonged to Mr. McGilded. I would never expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though. It seems Mr. Windibank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have at hand. But this photograph of a cat looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently. Oh, yes, you're right, very recently. It's the same as the one Ginny gave us earlier. Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that print. Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out. Alright, let the cogs turn. So, we're going to add them both. We're going to have them both in the court record, right? Yes, they're exactly the same. I've got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret. A secret? What does she mean? You must tell us, Iris, at once. Do you really, really, really want to know? Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. So, Iris, about these two photographic prints? The one we found here on Mr. Windibank's counter and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret that you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints? Actually, that's not quite right. Sorry? If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They're not? Have another look at them now. I mean, are we just talking about what's on the back? I mean, as far as I can tell, they're more or less the same picture. Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other? I think so. It's very subtle, though. I mean, yeah, they're definitely not a perfect match. As if they were taken from, like, a very slightly different angle. What's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints? Ah, well, it's because they're a set, you see. No, I don't. This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. Ah, stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Oh, yes, that's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. That thingy. You see, there it is, just over there. Ah, yes, of course. That magical machine that makes the picture look almost real enough to touch. Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions. What? Really? You know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I've no idea. Oh, wonderful. Then I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. I, for one, simply have to know. How they work. Have you ever considered, Bruno, how our eyes see the depth in the world around us? Well, I just opened them and it works. But the reason it works is because we have two eyes. Two eyes. Shocking. If you try closing just one eye at a time, you'll see straight away. What you see with your left eye and what you see with your right eye are ever so slightly different. You get a different view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly, and in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we can sense depth in everything we see. My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick. So, if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'd be able to see depth in these prints? Yes, Bruno, you're beginning to understand. And a stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that? Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can? Really? See, this is genuinely interesting because this is pretty dated technology, but obviously the biological aspect of it is still relevant. That's still how our eyes work, and, well, it's interesting. Let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh yes, I'm dying to have a go. Susato-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes, that's the main thing. Can you both do that? Cross my eyes? I think I can. Watch me and see if you can copy. Make your eyes do this. Alright, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? Hang on a sec. I am screenshotting that. That is so very worth screenshotting. There, how's that? Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Bruno. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time. Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed. Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try it looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. You should see two overlapping images like this. You try it now, Runa. Just gonna have to give it a try. Did the print split into two images for you? Now then the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this and try crossing your eyes again. Until they form a new single image in the center. Oh, yes! It works, Mr. Naruhodo. I can see it in the middle now. It's probably good that they kind of just merged them for me, because I couldn't pull it off. I'm not sure the distance I had from the screen was right. It looks so real. Oh, I could look at it all day. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. Your turn, Runo. Like, the thing is, I can't look at both both the bridge of my nose to make my eyes cross and the image on the screen at the same time. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two images overlap. This is it. Yeah, I am just going to kind of give up. I'm afraid I don't have the setup for screenshotting that. Also, let us display the wizard in all his wizardliness. Yes, there he is. I bet he could pull it off. Look at that, he's already blurry. Arson. Arson is his favorite kind of magic. And no, I didn't just make that up on the spot, you did. There, you managed it. So now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. So what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Runa? They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. No, some people find it easier than others. That's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here, and set a pair of photographs in the stand at the back and it's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now. Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently. But if these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them. But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so, in any case. Truthfully, I think there might be a way to kind of force the experience there. I'm guessing that if you... Like, suppose you took a pair of paper towel rolls and angled them so that it was hard to see past. Something to that effect. Second white cat photograph has finally been entered into the court record. There we go. So, we have this one, which talks about a box that was deposited at Windibanks on the 13th of February. And we've got this one that talks about the coat. Second of the two prints. I can do it. Thank you for the hydrate, Rafkin. Whoever thought of this in the first place must have spent a long time staring. Oh, wait. I think I remember part of the trick to this. If you can convince your brain that they are just one image, say by not letting both eyes see both of them. Oh, hang on, I've got to have a piece of paper or something here. Oh, one sec. I think this might make it easier. Don't mind me, I am just pulling out a random cutting board from my kitchen. I think it's almost working, but... there's some trick to it that I don't know. Get Gina brought here. It was entrusted to her by Mr. McGilded 2 months earlier. Small box deposited 2 days before the omnibus incident. Have anything to do with all this? And of course the bloody fingerprint there. Look, this dark red smear here appears to have been made by somebody's finger. You think it could be blood? You see any red Do you see all red marks as blood, Iris? That's a bit morbid, I think. But it's almost certainly blood, isn't it? 10-year-olds today. So, is it not blood? Because I was kind of assuming it was blood, too. Redemption ticket. Mr. Windibank appears to have used the back of this photographic print to write out a redemption ticket. Written it very neatly, but still, perhaps he ran out of paper, so he had to use anything he had to hand. It's hard to know what's front and what's the reverse side now. Alright, let's keep examining this room. So we've already lifted something from the crime scene. Oh, and the lamp is broken. Ledger on the counter. Too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head, if you ask me. Clearly, Mr. Windibank was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. Okay, so I can't specifically examine the broken lamp. It's a music box. It's a little hard to enjoy when the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks. Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Gregsy to have a word. Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. Let's examine the cops. Scouring every inch of the place. Instructions from the yard are to examine every inch in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article? But that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it all in shifts at least, but still. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure. And even then we'll barely have scratched the surface. Crime in the pawnbrokers. Must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know. A crime in a pawnbroker's. Okay, that guy had the same thing to say. Really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example? Sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know? Are you alright, Bruno? Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you owned them. Even that horse statue. It's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever. I mean, it is a schnazzy horse statue. Like, fair is fair. Oh, yes, that's a folding stereoscope. Really? This is a stereoscope? Mr. Sholmes showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions. But for that, he used the great big contraption over there. Ah, well, that's for use in pubs and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. But this little thing is a much simpler design for use at home. There are special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself. I wonder if I can make money out of these in Japan. It would beat keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. What? Oh. Yeah, somehow I think this calendar over here with the bullet in it and the blood spatter is going to be relevant. Stereoscope, the big one. Makes you think. When Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. Oh, look over here. Oh yes, a bullet hole. And I can see the bullet is still lodged in the wall. It shows April 16th, which I believe means that it happened after midnight. Because the pawnbroker was very conscientious about changing the date at midnight. We established this. Presumably, Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time. Ah, well, Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that. Sorry? It's all there in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, you know? Isn't that right, Iris? Ah, did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It's quite a dangerous pastime. He doesn't do it often? He shouldn't even do it once. Forget that for now, Runo. Let's examine this bullet. What's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? Suspicious red stain on the calendar. Aha! I may well be able to help with that. What? There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo? I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. Is that how you get your hair so pink you dye it in the blood of your enemies? Is it naturally white? I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see? When it comes to blood, we're all different types. Yes, what a scientific observation. So you need this. Oh no, what is that scary-looking thing? Herbie and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet, but as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Watch. Oh! The color of the bloodstain has changed. There, does it make sense now? Yes, I think I'm starting to understand. Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see. Yes, how wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at in a flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Ginny would say it's bleeding great. I would have guessed it's bloody great, but... So, whose blood are we looking at then? Like, there's no way to know without a comparison. Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood in a different color, so... Just find someone whose blood turns the same color and you'll know who it belongs to in a flash. It's more like two flashes, really, isn't it? One flash or two, this could well turn out to be a very valuable clue. So we must make note of it in the court record. Blood samples portfolio. Sample of blood analyzed with a special chemical indicator developed by Mr. Sholmes. Different people's blood turned different colors. Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have reagent left, sure. Actually, there's a stain on the back of that one photograph, isn't there? I think perhaps we should see if that can tell us anything. I don't know if, Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here. I have noticed... A red smear, you mean? Yes, it looks like blood, doesn't it? I wonder if Susato-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case, yes, we need Iris. Should show this to her before we forget. Oh, okay. So that's how we do it. We have to present things to her. Green blood. Just seems wrong somehow. Well, there are all sorts of different colors. There are pretty pinks and purples too, you know? Like I said, everyone's blood is different. Wonder what color my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. Let's talk to this guy. This officer's been staring intently at the wall since before we came in here. Shh, keep it down. Oh, sorry. There's a major clue just here. Really? We must tell Gregsy at once. Well, as soon as I report it, that'll be it. I'll be stuck here even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been home in 2 days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over my shift. They really have a tough time, the British police. That doesn't stop us investigating, though, does it? No, I suppose not. Fairly sure it was the calendar he was staring at. So in other words, he's watching the thing to make sure that it doesn't change before his replacement gets here. And that door is the storeroom, isn't it? That's what Gregsy said. Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. Mr. Windibank, face down on the floor, with Gina beside him. As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. You must make a thorough investigation. Yes, of course, and we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime. Or is it? Don't worry, if there are clues in there, I'll find them. Oh, that looks like blood. I would say it's from a gloved finger, almost certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry, Runo. You can leave the rest to me. Purple. Look at that. Yes, that's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? Let's add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point. Give it time. Oh, this particular stain of blood. Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is? Wait. I think I might. Like, I don't think I can actually prove it yet, but I have a guess. Yes, I have an idea whose blood it is. Not from the color of turn, but with a little deduction. That's right, I think it's clear. Iris, you know as well? You first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to? Alright, I believe that this is the blood of... Wait, what? Agnes McGilded, Gina Lestrade... Oh. I'll be honest, I thought it was Eggs Benedict. Because remember, he cut his thumb the other day, but I guess there's no real guarantee that it was handled by him. Which does make Magnus McGill, or which does make Thrice Fired Mason the most likely candidate. Thrice Fired Mason. You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there. It was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course, I'd never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice fired, though. The victim of the omnibus case? Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice Fired Mason. That would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windibanks yesterday. I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time. So it's a smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. Yep, that is part of why I guessed Mr. Mason. Now I ask you, so what a good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. It certainly does look like a leather-gloved thumbprint, this mark. But we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time, anywhere on his body, from which we can conclude that any blood on that glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason. Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes, except correct. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. Yes, I think you're right, Runo. Very well, let's make a note of this. The blood on it has been identified as Mr. Mason's. I mean, we're just guessing there. Like, it's entirely possible that at some point in the past 2 months, blood has gotten on the ticket. It's unlikely. Like, we're probably correct, but we can't prove it. Blood samples portfolio has been updated. Thrice Fired Mason, pawnbroker's ticket, coat. Alright. Let's head to the crime scene. Gotta start looking for a place to stop, but before we do, I suppose it's too much to hope that the blood stain there on the ground will also be green. 16th April, Windibank storeroom. Hang on. One small box. So that could be the box over there on the left, but there are a lot of boxes in here. There are a bunch on the right, too. 16th April, Windibank storeroom. Poor Iris. She's clammed up completely. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windibank's life was taken in this very room only last night. Ah! Wait, Inspector.
What is it now, Sunshine?
You took one look at me and tried to run away.
You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jump-up little defense lawyer, do you? Well, I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before, is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her. So you weren't running away from me, you were running away from a 10-year-old.
I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector.
Eh? Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least your net did.
Inspector Gregson, you could have paused for a full 1.5 seconds before saying that, and avoided saying it, and instead you chose to go ahead with the first thing that popped into your brain. I don't think that went very well.
Why? Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine, and I've told you not to get under me feet.
We have investigating to do ourselves. Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Oh, Hurley. And inquire into how Mr. Shulm's operation's going. Okay, first things first, let's take a look at the blood. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line. Poor Mr. Windibank. He was a nice old man. He wasn't that old, he was only 48.
Well, he was shot just once, through the heart. Most likely the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing.
This must be his blood then. Ah! Oh no, she's getting excited. I don't like to ask at such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps... Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action. Blue. So, now we know the color the chemical turns when it reacts with Mr. Windibank's blood. And it doesn't match our analysis of the blood stain we found in the main shop. So he likely put a shot into... Okay, this will probably be part of our defense, because it's likely that the blood stain on the wall in the main shop was a result of him putting a shot into someone who was invading the shop. And then, because he only had one bullet in the gun, he couldn't fire again. And that's probably the gun that Miss Lestrade had there. No, but let's add this sample to the others we've already collected anyway. Alright. Iris? Don't worry, I'm alright. But we must find the true culprit. Yes, absolutely. This is a revolver, a real one. And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windibank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You and Runo look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh. And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windibank with this yesterday, didn't we? Yep, it's his gun. I shall have to take my own life. I shall have to take my own life. Must be the same gun. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Mr. Windibank told us that he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he? Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun has been fired. So we can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Is that not going to be added to the court record? Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them. I can't believe how many there are. A bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings. Look. Pieces of different people's lives, quietly gathering dust in here together. Something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here, you know, other than the bloodstain. Or at least there would be, if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policeman shuffling around. Not much I can do about that, sunshine. Okay, so we can't examine that box. Which means that red box is probably the one that this thing references. Out of all of the articles in this storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any sign of being ransacked. Ah! What is it, Iris? It's the box file that my manuscript was being kept in. Oh. It's Iris's unpublished story, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. You must check inside the box at once. Yes. Ah! It was there. Iris's story was there. Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris? Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when he said he deposited it here, but still, it's a relief to actually see it. Really? Because that's not a very well-hidden frown. Iris's manuscript has been added to the court record. A long, unpublished story that Mr. Sholmes deposited at the pawnbrokery of the victim, Mr. Windibanks. It's entitled The Hound of the Baskervilles. Let's take a look. How did Susato-san know the exact title of this unpublished story? She probably heard about it from Iris's father, who we happen to know was the victim in the first case in this game. I'm so sorry. Oh my, that is not short. And it doesn't seem like there's anything else to examine about it. First fired Mason, Pop Windibank. Okay, I'm going to do something kind of bizarre here. I actually want to know if this box is still around. Inspector, what do you make of this? Ah, what have we here then? A redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of office stationery and wrote the ticket on whatever paper was to hand. Yes, this is the ticket for McGilded's overcoat, the one that the driver turned up with yesterday. Oh, actually no, it's not. Really? Think you know better than me, do you? No, I didn't mean to, Bruno's right, Gregsy. It isn't the same ticket. Of course it isn't, of course it isn't. I never doubted you, your ladyship. So, what's all this about then, if I might be so bold as to ask? This is a second ticket. The second one? Seems that Mr. McGilded in fact had another article in storage here at Windibanks. Is that right? I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector. Oh good, because he's ever so easy to talk to. Hey, I made the right call. I wonder, does he react to this ticket? Alright, the scene of the crime. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Sure, you've got eyes, haven't you? Use them. It is what it looks like, nothing more, nothing less. Iris, could you lend me a hand? So, Gregsy, what do you make of the crime scene here? Oh, yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside. So it was locked from the inside. The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officer's doing? Quite right, ma'am, quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in, as humbly as possible. Oh. As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thus wise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child. Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector. Mrs. Strahd, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious. I'm afraid to say she had the gun that was used in her hand. No. Presumably it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well. What? The key to this storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector? Right. All of which leaves the ladyship's friend in something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Okay, running theory, and by that I mean my current wild guesswork. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, lastborn. What if she was in here searching for Iris's manuscript when Mr. Windibank encountered the intruders in the front? He took a shot at one of them and then took shelter in here. He locked the door and he and Gina were attempting to hide in there when someone took a shot through the cubby and killed him. At which point Gina fainted. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding. Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Gregsy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he?
The thing is,
Don't mince your words, Inspector, please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is...
No, the operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well...
Out with it!
Yes, ma'am. They use something called the general anesthetic. It's the latest thing. Renders the whole body insensitive.
The whole body anesthetized? Is that even possible?
It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep.
Goodness. In the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide laughing gas for a tooth extraction.
The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to nod off, or so I hear. And now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently.
Oh my.
No one knows if it's the anesthetic still in his system, or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. Maybe a bit of both, honestly. Wouldn't be surprising. He lost a lot of blood. He was on death's door. Managed to bring him back, but who knows? Someone tumbles him out of bed wrong, and he might just pop off this mortal coil. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again.
Really?
The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall get word to you.
What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilded's overcoat.
Hey, you mean to tell me?
Yes, there was more than just the music box disc, it seems.
I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examining it properly.
Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilded deposited another article here with Mr. Windibank.
Yes, I can see what's written here. A small box, was it?
Do you have any idea where it is, Gregsy? Any at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilded. It could be an important clue.
Well, yes, I suppose it could be.
There's a lot of stuff in this room.
Please, stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes all full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose me marbles over. I'll go barking. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. That's enough sauce from you, sunshine. There is one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it?
Oh yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be in here then.
That's right, it's been forfeited.
Which means it could be on the shelves in the front of the shop, where the forfeited items are offered for sale. Yes, the shelves in the front. We must search them at once.
You're wasting your time.
Oh?
There are dozens of little boxes out there, hundreds even. We can't possibly know which one might have been McGilded's. Information's not written in the ledger.
Ugh. Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case.
Oh, of course, your ladyship, of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure. This is getting old.
Dong, dong, dong. Ah! Nearly jumped out of my skin there. How could Mr. Windibank set such a wicked trap? I doubt he set out to scare anyone. There are just a lot of clocks, and they're all properly timed. Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon. Oh? Her trial is tomorrow, and we must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Runo? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yes, you did. He was fully intending not to give that opportunity. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we had better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. One last thing, though. Yes, this is where all the items that have been forfeited by their original owners are offered for sale. That's right, they've all got little price labels on them. There are so many. I wonder if the small box on this ticket was for is still on the shelves somewhere. Box that McGilded deposited here just over 2 months ago. So, the loan amount paid was 10 shillings. That was how much it was lent for, so it would be worth something more than 10 shillings. He would be selling it for more, since he lent 10 shillings, he would have known that he could make, I would say, roughly 25 off it. Anywhere in the range of 25 to 50. Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. There are so many boxes. It could be any one of them. Mr. Shulman said that a pawnbroker's was the safest place to store anything, more secure than a bank's vault. So perhaps the small box of Mr. McGilded's contained something of very great value. Well, if that's the case, he'd probably have kept it locked. So then we need to find every box with a lock and break them all open. Yeah. Oh, I thought she was breaking the boxes. That sort of misconduct would get you arrested. I won't let that happen. Ah, this takes me back. It's been some time since Susato sound last through me. Okay, I think that's the best that we're gonna get, though. Time to head to the prison. 16th April, 5:41 p.m., local prison, cell 13. Ah, Gina, good, you're back. She's back? We were the ones who left. She is scared out of her skin, like she's trying to be all tough, but she's so jumpy. It's pretty clear just how terrified she is of the situation. The fact that she might get pinned for murder. Police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Chinny? Was it awful? I don't feel like you should be asking that cheerfully, Iris. Oh, didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Winterbanks. Oh, right. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying, that I did it. That's not... Gina, we came to ask for your final decision. What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I'm going to submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. She's really lost all her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. Okay, before anything else, I am going to shove my lawyer band at her. That's strange. Where's my armband gone? What's the problem? Something wrong? Don't suppose you're looking for this? Yes, but how? And when? And how again? I got a talent for it, haven't I, Davin? It's bordering on laughing. It's the same conversation as before. So, what do you want to tell me about it then? Ooh, before we do anything else, actually, I found this in Mr. Windibank's storeroom. A manuscript of Iris's latest story. Ah. Oh, right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Windibank showed no sign of being ransacked of being ransacked for items of value or the like, with one exception: the box that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the box containing this manuscript last night? Eh? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Ah, why don't you tell us what happened, please? I'm kind of jumping the gun on some of this. Do you see this pawnbroker's ticket, Gina? It's the one you took to Windibank's, isn't it? The one for that black overcoat you're wearing now? Eh? What? That? I don't know. They all look the same to me, those tickets. Surely not. This one has a very obvious mark on it that would appear to be blood. Eh? Does that ring any bells? No. It all looks the same to me, blood. They all sound the same to me, these answers. Suspicious. Oh, alright then. Blimey, give it a rest with them eyes, Iris. So come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know now why you broke into Windibank's that night. Alright, yeah, this Baskerville's story. It's the latest Sholmes adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. What? So you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No. No, Ginny, how could you? What? Wait, no, hang on. Of course I wasn't gonna sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if the manuscript or whatever you call it was really there or not. That's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake. Isn't that right? Ah. We knew why you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Jenny. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you'd said the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced lies, the lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that manuscript ain't at Windibank's. You'd soon see if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean, that sometimes I wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Ginny, that was so sweet of you. Alright, alright. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. It weren't because of Iris, that's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth, that's all. I wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest, if he'd really deposited the manuscript at Winterbank's. It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got a dad, only she can't see him. And I reckon that's got to be harder. That's why she writes the stories. They're about a dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me, anyway. Last night when I listened to what you were saying. Stories about Daddy? You mean they're not the adventures of a great detective, so much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner? Well, that's how I see it, yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Ginny. Yes, we never thought any differently, did we? Look, give it a rest, will you? I hate this chummy nonsense, G. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. 'Cause if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on, Scarpa. I hadn't noticed it until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of that overcoat. There are some very suspicious red stains. Whoa, why are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some other findings in that area to Ginny now. I'm saving the question of representation in court for the last. Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They're blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood yet. What? Blood, Mr. Naruto? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So could it be blood that splattered from Mr. Winterbank when he was shot last night? Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. Yes, Gina finally gets to be the one getting shot by a smoke grenade. Hey, take it easy, Iris. Don't move, Ginny. I'm going to shoot. That's terrifying. Purple. I believe that is Mr. Winterbank. But why isn't it on the rest of her? Oh, that's Thrice-Fired Mason. Huh. Oh. Oh my. Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn a purple color, which matches one of the samples we have already collected perfectly. Yes, now let's see who had the purple blood. Aha, yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew it. What you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. It was Gina. Oh, would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story. We can see now that the victim's blood is all over Mr. McGilded's overcoat. In the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony. ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? Wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from Mr. McGilded trying to pull the victim to his feet. No, if that was what had really happened, blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over Mr. McGilded's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I've tried to run from the truth for long enough. There's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, was Magnus McGilded. Mr. Naruhodo, that horrible case is solved at last, and I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen? Bruno, did you believe him, though? Did you believe that Mr. McGilded was innocent? I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to, because believing in those you represent in court is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. I mean, Kazuma-sama. Listen, Ryunosuke. We lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what is the truth and what is a lie, which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Unwavering belief? Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe in you, unwaveringly. What's funny, Gina? Cool. Sounds like in this empire of Japan you come from, everyone must be soft. Well, come on, look at the mess it's got you into, believing in that bog trotter. Yes, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free. Well, at least you've learnt your lesson now, eh? Believing in people is never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. As soon as you let down your guard, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one, get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I'll bet that's what he wants and all now, Mr. I'm a Believer lawyer over there. Don't forget it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? A lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that happened. Okay, so we are going to drop a save. There was a conversation option that I never clicked, so I'm going to leave that save there. So once we finish up, we'll actually come back. We'll load that save up real quick just because I want to see what the answer was, but I also want to see what happens if I say I can't trust her. Well, what choice do I really have here? I have to believe. Oh, come on. You know what? In fact, we'll do it right now. Bit of a break here, but... we already have the representation papers and other documents we need. All we have to do is hand them to the court clerk. That is, if you'll allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Ginny, rep 'em up and chuck 'em, would you? Them's representation papers, or whatever they're called. This cell ain't fancy enough to have a bin. So what will you do in court tomorrow? I'll be fine on me own. I don't think you will be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is what's gonna happen. This is one stubborn pickpocket. Okay. Now we'll go back to the spot where we left off. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Eh? Are you half-baked? Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously, Mr. Naruoto? Didn't you hear all of what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off me tongue. And I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you into all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you chose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there is more to this life than you yet realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. Eh? It's true that I'm just a student of law, and I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience. But I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. Well, what do you expect me to say to that? You can represent me would be nice. Then it's decided. I will take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You some I don't know what you are. I don't get you. I gotta be honest, Gina is my favorite character in this game so far. And I couldn't say exactly why, but I like her overall arc. Gina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out alright in the end, I think. Whoever's hiding there, show yourself at once. Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. Miss Fusato? Somebody is there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before. It's Mr. Sholmes, isn't it? Blimey, you're sharp, eh? Oh no, it's Mr. Gregson. He's here to tell us that Mr. Sholmes has woken up. I suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts, like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Gregsy. Oh, dear me. I'm most terribly sorry, your ladyship. I don't mean to startle you. How long have you been listening in on our conversation? Good grief, listening in? No. I just got word that there were some visitors who were refusing to leave here even though it was after hours. I assure you, your ladyship, I only just arrived this very minute, not a moment earlier. That's all it is. Nothing untoward, nothing at all. After hours? Is it that late already? So then, I'll humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-ta, toodaloo, cheerio, all the best, bye, and bye. That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute. Oh, I see. That's a shame. If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will... well... Emergency? Lord Strongheart? Nothing. Forget I said anything. Anyway, I'm off. Alright, Gregsy, if you have to, but let's chat soon. Delighted, charmed, can't wait. If you please, my pleasure. That's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere. Gregsy's so funny. He says such silly things. It's certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police force fawning to a 10-year-old. But anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. I must attend to the court clerk's office now before it closes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Miss Susato. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later. And so our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went out to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day. And then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Britain and making her way back to Japan. "16th April, 11:13 p.m., Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy." Naruhodo-san, it's been a very trying day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted. What about you, Susato-san? Today has been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Sholmes was shot before our eyes, Gina was arrested, and all on the back of the news that her father has fallen ill, and that she must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is that so many thoughts rage in my head like a storm, and yet I seem unable to find the words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow. One final task? What's the matter with me? Why am I examining things at a time like this? Because that's my habit. I examine things first. Also, I'm presenting her with the armband. It means a great deal to me, you know. You cherish his armband so, wear it each time you appear in court. Okay, we've already seen this. Okay, one other thing that I want to present to her, though. Hound of the Baskervilles, Iris's unpublished work. Yes, so Mr. Sholmes was telling us all the truth. He did indeed deposit it for safekeeping with Mr. Windibank. True, but then it still leaves the question of how Susato-san knew the full title. I haven't read it myself, of course. Ah, no. I realize I spoke carelessly last night. It was a dreadful mistake. I know that you must have your reasons for not telling us any more. I'm so sorry. Dang it, I was hoping she would spill the beans. It's just 2 months since we arrived in London. We've managed to establish this office. I was finally feeling as though we were settling in. I would be lying if I said I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, Susato-san. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. I know we've only been here a short time, but in my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. And what would that be? It seems to me there are many facets to people's personalities. Facets? And like a jewel, the light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. But we see only a small number of the total facets, and what is illuminated is only part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets we cannot see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we'll never lay eyes on, for as long as we live. It's so true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much, but I keep hoping that one day it will all become clear. That all the facets will be illuminated, and I'll finally understand how everything fits together. Naruhodo-san. I suppose what matters is that we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark. It's amazing to think it's been just 2 months. You've grown so much. Sorry? I've what? Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant. You know what time you will leave London in the morning? Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. She'll be leaving here at 4... Dang! I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry? I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Gina's trial. Yes, I know, but every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible, even though, like me, I'm sure you will find it hard to sleep. But please, for me, do try. One final task. You mentioned one final task a moment ago. What did you mean? Oh my, I nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this. Is that Kazuma's diary? What is that? Some huge bundle of documents. It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus. The McGilded case. Seems to me that this case of Mr. Windibank's murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case, in ways that are not yet completely apparent. True enough. Okay, hang on. Why didn't Gina's coat get added to the record there? So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case for you. Everything else she's had to think about. Susato-san still managed to do this, and all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. I can only hope that it will bolster your case tomorrow for Gina. Thank you so much, Susato-san. I will do my best to use it wisely. Give me just a second before I show Totoro, okay? You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Sorry? I didn't quite catch what you said there. Oh, ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself. The McGilded case notes have been entered into the court record. Okay, let's say hi to Totoro real quick. Oh. There he is. Look at that expression. I have not updated his calendar in a while. It's still showing Tuesday the 12th of March. Gotta love Totoro. The gilded case notes have been entered into the court record. You know what? We won't even read them tonight. We'll read them tomorrow when we get back with the case. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Naruhodo-san. I must finish packing up my things in my room. Susato-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Wait, there's something I need to say. Really? What was that? A secret technique of mine. The Susato shutdown. Shutdown? Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. Susato-san. It truly had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us and learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted, and yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. But I forced myself to close my eyes. And as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind, eventually my fatigue triumphed, and I fell into a deep sleep. April 17th, the small hours, St. Sinner's Hospital, Ward 3. We got one more scene to play through. Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be a... Oh. Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. My dear madam. To be continued. It's time to save it. We're just going to mash up. There we go. Alright, that's the stream. Just under 3 hours for that day of investigation, but... Oh. I am looking forward to this case, though. It does really seem pretty exciting. I am sad that there aren't as many cases in this as there were in the Phoenix Wright games. Because I felt like the variety of those was pretty good, but... Or maybe I'm just thinking that there were more cases. Maybe I'm imagining it. Either way, that's gonna be it. We'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow night. See how much of the case we can get through. In the meantime, I do appreciate y'all. Hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you next time. Later, folks.